Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Today I've got a really good question from a subscriber that I want to talk about having to do with early season spring fishing. And before I get into that, I do want to let you guys know that I do have an affiliate agreement put in place with the Real Shot, which is a tackle shop based out of Appleton, Wisconsin. Great store, huge selection, guys. They've got a lot of stuff right now on their website that you can buy through them that you can't buy at other retailers. So I've got a link in all of my videos. I went back through all of my videos and put links to their website so that you could find some of the tackle that you've been asking for. Because I've gotten a lot of you guys giving me feedback stating, asking why I don't put links to it and that it would help you guys out so you could see exactly what I'm talking about. So the Real Shot carries most of those items that I mentioned, and when they do, I put links to that stuff. It's a great way for you guys to help me out, and at the same time, if you use the code STEFAN10 when you check out, so STEFAN, my last name, plus the number 10, you'll get 10% off your order, so it helps you guys out at the same time. They got fast shipping, great selection. Like I said, guys, there's stuff right now that they have that a lot of places throughout the country and major retailers do not have. And at the same time, they're a store you guys might want to familiarize yourself with because they are really supporting the tournament world within Wisconsin, but they've got some plans for reaching outside of the state of Wisconsin as well. They're really big in the walleye world, really big in the bass tournament world up here. They are one of the main sources behind the head-to-head fishing. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but a lot of you I know have seen it on YouTube or Facebook because they show it all live. Just be on the lookout for them. But in the meantime, guys, if you're looking for tackle, hit the link in my description, and that'll take you right to their site. And like I said, you can apply the coupon code when you check out and save a little bit of money. So to get into today's question, the question from a subscriber was, how would you approach fishing flowages, which are what we call reservoirs for all of you Southerners? In the North Country, we call them flowages. How do you approach flowages in the upper Midwest or northern part of the country for kind of that period right after ice out and before the spawning period happens? And really, for those of you who are not familiar with this part of the country, we do not have like the really good transitions from winter to pre-spawn to spawn to post-spawn that you guys down south have. Excuse me. So what we have here is really ice out almost right into spawn. I mean, it's really like a 1 month period because in order for the ice to melt, we have to have some pretty warm temperatures. It's not like it happens overnight. Like up where I live, we'll have 2 feet of ice during the winter. So to get rid of that, our air temps are going to be, in the 50s. Overnight temps are above freezing. So when the ice comes off, there is a rapid increase in water temp from that, that 30-degree range up into the 50s and 60s. It does not happen long. I mean, we've had a couple of warm days here where the river that I live on has gone from probably 40 degrees up into the mid 50s, I'm guessing. So it's been a really quick transition. And what that does to the fish is it makes them pretty much go from wintering right into the spawn period. So if you're fishing up in the upper Midwest or northern part of the country, to me, there are a couple things that you really want to look for. The first has to do with water temp. It seems like those fish will really try to seek out some warmer water temp because you will have such drastic changes from the main lake to the back bays. A lot of the back bays will be the ones that come off, that the ice comes off first. And a lot of times you won't have ice on the back bays, but you'll have ice still on the main lake. So the main lake is still in the 30-degree range, and you can have water temps in the back bays up into the 50 degrees. So those fish will really seek out some of that shallower water. And when I'm talking about fish, I'm talking more largemouth. The smallmouth a lot of times will maintain their wintering under those ice areas because they're in the main lake portions anyways, which is one reason I don't necessarily agree with the idea that smallmouth spawn first or in cooler water, so that means they go before largemouth. Up here in the North Country, usually the largemouth end up spawning first because the smallmouth are still out on the main lakes, and it takes a lot longer for the main lakes to warm up. So that's kind of a separate discussion. But to get back on it, so those backwater areas that are the first to lose ice are usually the first place that those fish go. And the largemouth will really stack up in some of those areas too. So an easy way to find those is really, if you're familiar with a body of water, in the summer, the areas that are choked out with weed, the shallowest areas, the areas that you wouldn't even think about really fishing in the middle part of the summer, are probably the areas that you want to fish in the spring. I can't tell you the number of areas that I have on lakes throughout this region that after ice comes out, before the spawn happens, they just are phenomenal. You get waves of fish that will go in there, and you can literally sit in those areas and catch fish after fish after fish without moving the boat. And a lot of times those areas are the same areas they spawn. I think a lot of times I don't think people really want to even go back into some of those areas to look, but they are primary spawning areas as well. So once you've located those areas, you want to kind of dial in some of the things within that area. So, in my head, I'm thinking of a couple of areas up in the northern part of the country that I like to fish, like giant pad field type areas that get choked out in the summer. Those fish will key in on some of the pad roots. The pad roots absorb heat. You're really looking for anything that is a hard structure that will absorb heat. So pad roots, stumps, laydowns, cattail clumps, anything that's more of a hard object that will absorb heat will bring those fish to them. The other thing that you want to pay close attention to is if there's any sort of deeper water ditch or little tiny creek channel, something that goes through that area. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like an actual creek channel that, starts on one end and goes to the other end. A lot of times you'll find in these super shallow areas almost like little depressions. And I don't know what causes them, but it's almost like they're like there was bogs there that got ripped out and it left a hole. Kind of similar when you see a tree that gets blown over and the roots come up, you get a hole under where the roots pulled up. It's really that same sort of thing. You'll find that a lot of times. So you might be in a flat that's 2 feet deep, and then there'll be an area that's, the size of this room that's 3.5 feet deep. Those areas are usually really good areas too that congregate the fish. From a lure standpoint, I really like to use moving baits at that time. Now keep in mind those fish are usually more aggressive, and the water temp in those areas is usually up in the upper 40s to 50 degree range within only a few days after ice out. It does not take long. So those fish are relatively aggressive, especially after being in 30 some degree water during the winter. They're looking to feed. They're starting to think about spawning, so they're feeding for that. So my number one bait in that situation is to throw a 1/4 ounce swim jig, dirty jig swim jig. I like to match it up with a trailer that keeps the bait up a little bit higher. So whether that's a Berkeley deal or a meaty chunk, something that I can keep the bait kind of slower moving, but keep it off the bottom and out of some of that slimy stuff that grows on the bottom of a lot of those areas. And then once I've located fish, there's usually a lot more fish there, and then that's when I'll slow down with like a Berkeley General or some sort of worm that a weightless worm usually, because again, you're only fishing in like that much water a lot of the times. And I'll slow down and you can catch several more fish without ever moving the boat. But I would state that it is crucial to try to keep moving to try to locate them, because you're not going to have fish everywhere. Just because it's a shallow spot doesn't mean there's going to be fish there. You want to move around until you find where the fish are, and then a lot of times there's big groups of them that are there. So that's kind of my approach, guys. This time of year, it's only a couple week window normally. I mean, right now I see it happening here. We've had on the flowage that I live on here, the ice has been out now for probably 2 weeks, and like I said, the water on the main river now is in the 50s. So The backwaters, I'm sure with the last couple days we've had in the mid 70s, that there's lots of water out there that's 60 degrees, and those fish are starting to set up to spawn already. So it's one of those things. There's small windows for this to happen. It's not an immediate thing, and it's not like it lasts forever. There's small windows, so you want to take advantage of it. At this point, guys, a lot of us have already missed that window, unless you're really up in the northern part of the upper Midwest, or I'm assuming probably still over in parts of New York. They might have some ice still too. I'm not sure, but the ice I know up in northern Wisconsin is almost, I'm gonna say it's gonna be gone in the next couple of days completely. But I hope that was helpful, guys. Let me know, leave a like, leave a comment. If you've got other topics you want me to talk about, please let me know. It's great to have ideas from you guys. It gives me kind of fresh things to think about, and fresh topics to come up and speak about. So thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Tune in tomorrow. New episodes coming out every day.